So we are going to start today's session that is on item analysis, and we have restricted this to the medical education. Item analysis you can do otherwise also in the scale development and all. There also we do the item analysis, but this item analysis is strictly we are discussing this. This whole session is restricted towards the medical education. That means assessment, formative versus the summative assessment. So with this, I'll start sharing my screen. And like all other workshops, there are a few new participants in this workshop. So I will just announce few things that you will, all the workshop material and the recording, you will get it. Probably the recording maybe by today evening, late evening, or by tomorrow morning. And PowerPoint content and the reference material also, few of the material you got it and rest you will get it after the workshop. For the certificate, generally we give 10 questions and you have to log in to your Merit India account and you have to attempt those questions. And once you submit your response, the certificate is automatically generated. The third thing, we will have 2 breakout room activity. So please try to join with your laptops, or those of you who cannot join with the laptop, you can at least share your like vision or share your feedback on the participants which they are doing the activity. So the 2 breakout room, the first breakout room will be probably at the end of 1.5 hour, and the next breakout room will be probably at the end of 2 hours. So let's start the session. So we have given you one question, the Google form, and this was the form which we have shared. So you can see how we have drafted the question. I am not asking you to pay attention towards the distractor or towards the correct key. The framing of this Google form was such, you can see here, normally how do we frame the Google, whenever we ask the question in the Google form, we make the question in the response A, B, C, D. But here we have separately given you these 4 options. We have written the questions and the responses here, and separately we have written like A, B, C, D. So can someone tell what is the advantage of if you ask questions like this? What is the advantage, or how the Google Sheet will come if you don't give this? If you don't have these A, B, C, D separately, then the response format which you get, there you will get the wordings like vitamin A, C, D, etc. So Priyanka is saying multiple answer can be attempted. No, Priyanka. Apart from multiple answer, what we want is, like I'll show you, if you go to the response, this was the response which you people have given. And if I show you in the sheet, the response comes like this. You can see, like vitamin, this is the question, and the response will be in form of like a B, D. So you don't need to clean the data and recode the data. Otherwise, if you don't give this option A, B, C, D separately, here the option will be like vitamin D will come. It comes like in the text, whatever text you have written as an option A, B, C, D. It doesn't come as like A, B, C, D clean data. So if you have given answer like this, you can see the spread of the data. Here in the response, you can only see the B, A, B, C and something like that. So same template, I mean, same idea you can also use if you are doing the item analysis, so that you don't have to do the entry, first thing. The second thing, you don't have to recode the data from text to number and do it separately in the Excel sheet. So that's what we wanted to share. So we got the response of 54. There were other people also who have submitted the response, but we have taken the response on, for this data analysis workshop, we have taken the response of 54 people, because after that, we did not count it in the overall analysis. So whenever we will do the analysis, you can see that deliberately there are items which are very poorly functioning, there are items which are good. So you don't consider this. It was just an exercise which we have drafted only for the workshop purpose. Okay, these are not the actual questions which we ask in the exam. Just for workshop purpose, we have drafted these questions and we have taken the response from you people so that you can understand the overall process of. So please focus on the process rather than the actual value which is coming, because once you understand, the actual value may differ from person to person, from the respondent group of respondent one group to another group. But if you have understood the process, then you can replicate the same process in your setting. So our aim is to, like, you can replicate it as such if you have to do item analysis. Am I making myself clear to all of you? Okay. So now this is our first workshop on the item analysis. And in this case, we will see we have used Jamovi for this purpose. So since all of you are, I can see like most of you are like as an academician, you are involved in the taking assessment of students or making questions. So what do you think as a faculty or as a mentor? Is assessment the end of learning or a part of it? What do you think? Generally, previously we used to say that it it uh, it drives the student towards the learning, so it's a part of learning. It's not the end of learning. So rightly said. So what was the traditional view? So if you can recall, or maybe 20, 30 years back when we were students, the traditional view was like the assessment was the end of the learning point, like when you have learnt everything. And at that time probably there was no concept of formative assessment. Internal assessment was not that important when we were UG. This has come into more importance is being given these days. So and after the advent of this CBME also, we are now focusing more on the formative assessment. So generally, when we used to study just to pass the exam. But if you see the modern view of this assessment, so modern view is the competency-based education. And here, related to each competency, we have an assessment method. And that assessment method helps two ways. Like it helps a teacher also to focus on a particular concept or where there is a gap, and it helps the student also. So it's this assessment. It acts as a both ways. It has win-win situation. It is helpful for the teacher also, and it is helpful for the student also, just to improve the learning and to know the gap. So in this case, if you see the multiple choice question, it's a very powerful tool of assessment. There are other methods also like short answer questions, long answer questions, but we have restricted ourselves this since this is item analysis. So we'll be talking more and to like the wholly towards the MCQs. So these multiple choice questions, if you see, it is one of the most widely tool used for knowledge. If you take any of the entrance exam or many of the, you can say, we'll talk about the type of assessment, but generally it is quite common and very widely used. And traditionally, we say that it is only to understand the knowledge, but it is not so. Nowadays, you can see there are MCQs where you can check the understanding, where you can check the application also in any of the competency. So if you take these MCQ or the multiple choice question, generally it has got a objectivity. So what do I mean by objectivity? It means that in assessment, we talk about reliability. I'm not going to talk about detail in those reliability, but whenever we take assessment, we talk about two concepts. First is reliability and second is validity. So reliability means it is very objective, means it can differentiate between a student who is weak and a student which is very strong, means very good at it. And also it should not have a subjective element. So if you see the short answer questions or long answer question, it has got a subjective element. But in MCQ, the same question, if you give to two students, it is same scoring pattern. If it is yes, he will get 1 mark. If it is a 1 mark question or a 4 mark, and it removes the examiner bias. So we can say that it is very objective. That's why the name is the multiple choice question. It is objective in nature. Reliability is very high because it can differentiate between a student who is a low performer and who's a high performer, and it works well with a large batch. If you have to conduct exam for a large batch, and since you can see these days the number of students are increasing. There are medical colleges where there are number of students are 250 in single batch. So it gives a lot of burden to the examiner to check those many papers also. So for one time like summative, yes, it is okay. But if you have to do multiple time, it is quite burdensome many times. So it works well for large batches also. And validity is also good. Like what is validity? Generally, validity means it should reflect the true score of the student, and it should check what it is supposed to do. So if the construct is clear, or if you are making questions from the topic which has been there in the curriculum, so definitely it has got a high validity, because you can include questions from all the domain if it is 100 questions. And the same, we are talking about the sampling breadth. That means it can test a wide content area in a less time. For long questions and all, you have to give like 3 hour, and questions like 2 long question or 5 short notes. It takes time in writing also, and it takes time in assessment also. But if you see the MCQ, it has got a very wide sampling breadth, means a large number of competency can be assessed, a wide area of content can be tested in short period of time. And there are ways you can check it, easy to evaluate. If it is a OMR sheet, you can see like NEET and the DNB, PLAB, etc. They have ways to check these OMR sheets, and it is easy to evaluate and analyze statistically also. So this item analysis, you can see you cannot analyze the way we analyze the MCQ. You cannot analyze a short answer and a long answer questions. Post test also. But this has got a scoreability because it can be analyzed statistically, and that's what we are going to learn. And it has got a diagnostic value. So what do I mean by diagnostic value? Diagnostic value means it will suggest, we'll see this today in today's example itself, that the response of the test takers will tell you that which are the topic which they have understood well, and which are the topic which they have not understood. So that guides the teaching also, which are the areas where we should focus more in teaching, and should we change our teaching modality or some newer concept or something like that. So it has got diagnostic value, means it helps us to diagnose the deficiency in the teaching learning process also. So this is the advantage of using the multiple choice question. So a typical multiple choice question, it has got a stem. Like in this case, the first question, like which vitamin is called the sunshine vitamin. So it is a stem of the question. And then there are 4 options. So these are known as option. The correct answer among these options is known as key. And the rest 3 incorrect options are known as distractor. So this is the terminology. Main question is known as stem. The 4 response format ABCD is known as the option. Correct answer is known as key. And the rest 3 incorrect answers are the distractors. So as the name suggests, distractor, if you see the term distractor, that means it should distract. It is not the correct answer, but it should have a potential to distract you from the correct answer. Right. So we'll see, and these we will quite often we will use the term during the whole session, this distractor and this key and stem. So now you can see here, there are 2 students. So one student, he has not prepared for the exam well. And then there's another student who is very much prepared, well prepared, he has read everything. So for a unread student or less prepared student, these distractor will appear more attractive. So distractor role is to attract the student who are less prepared. Similarly, a student who is very much prepared, generally whenever he will see the question, the key will strike. Key means the right answer. So he will straight away go to the right answer and he will not be lured by the distractor. So the very much property, if you see clear property of a key and a distractor, a good student or a well prepared student will go towards the key, and a less prepared student, they will go towards the distractor. So in this example, we have just to demonstrate, we have taken example of 11 students, and these 11 students have taken the test. So after they have taken the test, and I have arranged them rank wise, means from the rank 1 till rank 11. So if you see here, we have coded it with a green color. So this green color is the top ranker and these bottom red one are the bottom ranker. So this is known as the upper group, that is the 27%, and this middle group is the 46%, and this lower group is the 27%. So generally we divide whatever is the student, generally Kelly, who was a person who has given this concept, that we do the analysis on the upper and the lower, and generally we take the 27% upper and the 27% lower. If you go by the traditional books, which is there in the medical education, in many of the book, they suggest they have given, divided it into the two groups. The upper, more than 50th percentile means two group, high achiever group and the low achiever group. They have not divided into the three group. But Jamovi generally does it in the three group. And if you see the reference, all other like Kelly and all other people, they suggest that to check for the reliability, because reliability is the discrimination, you should divide it into the top 27% and the bottom 27% and then do the analysis. So why it is so? Because the upper group, if you see the upper group, generally what is a upper group? That means they are well prepared. So they don't have any problem. They have studied well for the test and they know the subject. What about the lower 27% group? So lower 27% group, they have not prepared well, they have a very poor test taking ability or test taking skills also, because they get nervous because they are not prepared, so they get nervous, and they don't know the subject also. So neither they have studied and nor they have test taking ability. Then let's talk about this middle 46%. So this middle 46%, it includes students who are prepared, but they are not very well prepared. Means they have read it, maybe they have not revised enough time. So they are prepared, but somewhat less than the upper group. And in this case, there are also students who have not studied well, but they have got very good test taking ability. Good test taking ability means like they can differentiate among the choices somehow, and they are good at guessing also. So that's why they comprises, they forms this middle 46% of the people, of the student. So in this case, for example, you can see we have just taken the snip of those 11 students, and this is the same question which we have given to you. So the question is, which vitamin is called the sunshine vitamin? And the correct answer is C. So C is the key. You can see we have written here the C is the key. This one. And then A, B and D are distractor. So if you see the high group, so high group, like we talked, that high performing group will go towards the key. So all the three have marked the correct answer and none of them have selected the distractor. And if you see the lower group, none of them have marked the correct answer and they have each marked one distractor. So if I ask you, can you comment about the situation? So what will be your answer? If I ask the question regarding is the if you see the situation, this is the most ideal situation. What do I mean by most ideal? means the lower performer, they could not guess the key and they have distracted themselves towards the distractor. So they have not given the correct answer on a particular item, but they have selected all other distractor also, distractor A, distractor B, and distractor D. So this is the most ideal situation. Now you see the second scenario. In this case, the key has been marked by the high performing students, all the three by the high performing student. And the lower group has marked 0. But in this case, if you see the distractor D, it has not been chosen by any of the low group. That means this distractor is not qualifying a very good distractor because it is not attracting any of the weaker students. So we can say that the distractor D, it is not a functional distractor. Because what is the function of a distractor? Distractor should distract the poor performing student or the student who has not read well. So if this D distractor is not attracting anyone, that means it is not a distractor. Because what is the literal meaning of distractor? It should distract you. Distract not the higher performing, but the lower performing. Am I making sense to all of you? Are you getting what we are talking? Anything you want me to repeat till now? Okay. Then we'll go to the next concept. Now you see this. Here, the answer key, it has been rightly marked by all the high achievers, like 3 in this case. But if you see the all other options, so the lower group, and basically we will focus only on the upper and lower group because we don't focus on the middle group. Why we don't focus on the middle group? Because it creates the random error in calculating the reliability. We will talk later, but the Kelly has suggested that whenever we calculate reliability, we don't include the middle group because there are chances of error, random error in the middle group. And that's why the coefficient, whatever we will calculate, the discrimination index, that will not be very clean. So that's why we are focusing more on the, mostly on the lower group and the upper group. So if you see the lower group, these 3 distractors, they have not chosen. Like this is the key, the 2 distractor A and D, they have not chosen and they have not given the answers also. So in this case, you can see that there's only one functional distractor and the rest 2 distractors are not functional. A and D, they are not being selected by anyone. So it's a non-functional distractor. Now, what is your comment on this? In this case, you can see the high achievers, they have selected this answer 2, but they have selected this distractor also, one distractor, which is B. And in the lower group also, like they have selected all the 3, but one person has selected a key also. So this also, this is quite common. You can see here that many times the high achievers also, that means it is a good distractor that it is it is able to, you can say like attract the good performing student also. So now coming to the distractor. So in all the MCQ, if it is a 4 option MCQ, so it will have a key and it will have 3 distractor. So what should be the minimum? Because you can see there are questions which have got 5 options. There are questions which are having 3 options, 2 options also. But generally it is said that you should have a minimum of 3 distractors. And one key will of course will there. Because if you keep 3 distractor, it is very much ideal for calculating all the reliability indices. And again, it is not only in the number, but even if like in the previous scenario, you can see in this case, there are 3 distractors, but only one distractor is functional. The rest 2 are non-functional. So it is not only about the number of the distractor, rather functionality of the distractor is also important. That means all the 3 distractor should be functional. It should not be a non-functional. But again, how do we say that it is a non-functional distractor? So it depends on the percentage of people who have chosen it. So if the percentage of a particular distractor is less than 5%, that means it is chosen by less than 5% of the total test takers, then it is known as the non-functional distractor. Okay. So let's define it again. If any distractor is chosen by the less than 5% of the test takers of the student, it is a non-functional distractor. That means, how do we define a functional distractor? Any distractor which has been chosen by more than 5% of the student, then it is known as the functional distractor. Now, where this MCQ is used, so generally it is used in our, like every university format, you know that in our also aims also, in summative assessment also, we have to ask like 40 questions MCQ, each having 0.5. So there are 20 marks for the multiple choice questions. So it is asked in the university exams, in NEET, MLE, lab, DNB, and many other exams. So one very important question, like when do we use this item analysis? So do we use this before conducting a test, or we conducted this item analysis is conducted after we have administered the test? So generally, we conduct this item analysis after the examination has been conducted. Again, if I ask this question, then what is the point of conducting item analysis if you have conducted the test? Yes? Anyone? You can write in the chat box or you can unmute and answer also. What is the point of conducting an item analysis once the exam has been over? Can you see the chat? Okay. Yes, to make a question bank. Very good. Self-improvement, pre-post. Okay, you can do that. And it will help for future exam. Very true. So generally, it is done after the exam, but exams are not done one time. Like we do this examination repeatedly. Yes, Shilpa, Dr. Bishwas, Shraddha, Jalinder, all of you have written correctly. That generally it is we do this to have a question bank of these items. So generally how it can be done, like you can give these questions in the formative assessment. Like whenever you are going for taking a class, you can give the students these few questions like 10 or 20, and you can ask them you can tell them the purpose, that this is not to have the assessment of the student, rather the purpose is to create a question bank where we can keep those questions as a as difficulty level or as a reliability index. So that we have also started of late here, that we give the questions to the students and then we ask them to give the responses anonymously. They don't need to give their name, and also we tell them the purpose why we are doing it, and also we tell them that the marks, whatever, since it is anonymous, so giving allotting marks to a student is not it's not possible. So we only use it for the analysis purpose. So you can also do it. You can start doing it in the class using this Google form whenever you take classes. And you can start from like 10 questions or whatever topic you are teaching, you can take frame questions. So that is to improve the question, you can say like stem formation. How do we make the stem? How do we, whatever distractor which we have kept, whether it is a good distractor or not. So just to analyze those things and the difficulty level of a question, you can use in class or during the formative assessment, so that even if we conduct it after the examination has been conducted, you have got a pool of your own questions. And then once you have to give the questions in the final exam, you can select from that particular question bank. So again, you can do it during the pilot testing of new questions. Like I said, you can do this pilot testing in the routine classes. And whenever you are reviewing a question bank, then also you can again do this item analysis. And if you are detecting some unusual score pattern, then also you can do this item analysis. Like NEET, in the last NEET, you must have heard that many students, they got 720 out of 720. So the item analysis could have been done there. I don't know, they must have done that just to see regarding the difficulty level or the distractor. If someone is getting many people are getting the good marks. So is it really able to discriminate between the good performing and low performing student or not? So it can be done. So why it is needed? Because if you can remember your DM, MCH or MDMS or MDS or MSc nursing entrance exam days. So generally students, whenever you come out of the examination hall, you must have heard talking regarding that the paper was very easy or the paper was very difficult. Or another statement like whosoever has prepared well will definitely clear this time. And or maybe many times we say that in most of the questions, I was able to remove the two options, but there were very close ties between the two options. That means I was confused between the two options and it was not very much easy to guess or to come to the correct answer. So these were most of the verbatim many times we keep on hearing. So what do we really mean by all these statements? That whenever we say that the paper was easy or paper was difficult, and when we say that whosoever has prepared well will definitely clear this time, and when we say that I was confused between two options, so what does this indicate about the distractors? So these three things, the first question we say about the paper easy or paper difficult. So first thing tells you regarding the difficulty index, or we also call it as a facility value. The second thing we say that whosoever has prepared well will definitely clear this time. That means the question has got the ability to differentiate between a well prepared student and a ill prepared student. This is known as the we difficulty discrimination index. So the first is the difficulty index, the second is the discrimination index, and the third, if you have heard saying this, like I was confused between two options, so that's the distractor analysis. So, but again, these are the individual responses. But when you accumulate all these individual response, because these are the subjective feeling, when these you must have heard, or maybe you must have said it when you were coming out of the examination hall, or when you appeared during your time, many of the entrance exam. But when you do analysis in assessment science or in all these research, we have got precise tools to measure the subjective feeling. And these tools are the tools which are there in the item analysis. So these tools are known as the, like I said, the first one is the difficulty index, which is also known as the p-value or the proportion value. So this difficulty index is also known as the facility value, and it measures, like I said, the verbatim. If you can connect this to the verbatim that the paper was easy or the paper was difficult. So it measures basically how easy or difficult the question was. So if this difficulty index, if the percentage is high, we say that the question was easy, and if we say that the question was hard, then this difficulty index is low. So what is this difficulty index? So this difficulty index or p-value, basically how it is calculated. So this is calculated by the formula, the number of students who have answered correctly, and in the denominator we take the total number of students. So it's the difficulty index or the p-value, also known as the facility value. The range can be from 0 to 100%. That means if it is a 0, that means it is a very easy, and 100% is very difficult. But interpretation, generally we keep it like less than 0.3, we call it as a difficult. Between 0.3 to 0.7, we call it as a moderate. And if it is more than 0.7, then we call it as a easy. So this is the difficulty index or the p-value. Now coming to the second indices, the index, which is the discrimination index. So what is this discrimination index? So basically it differentiates between a student who is well prepared from a student which is ill prepared. So it basically checks that whether that item or question can separate the high and low performer. So a good item, a strong student will get it right, whereas a weak student will often go for the distractor and will not choose the correct answer or the key. So what is this discrimination index? So this discrimination index or DI basically, this is the ability of an item to differentiate between a high and low performer, and it is calculated by the formula. In the numerator, you take the number of students in the upper group who have answered the correctly, and in the and you divide the number of students who have answered correctly in the lower group. And in denominator, you take the total number of students. So it is basically U minus L by total. U is the total number of students in the upper group who has answered it correctly. In the L, it is the total number of students in the lower group who has answered it correctly. So this is the DI. And if you see the interpretation, generally we say that if it is more than 0.3, it is excellent item, but it should be more than 0.2. So acceptability is, if it is more than 0.2, that means 0.25 to 34, and less than 0.2, generally we don't accept. There is a need to revise. And if it is less than 0.15, it is very, again, even if it is marginal or poor, you need to revise the question. So the first we discussed the difficulty index or facility value or p-value. Second, we discussed the discrimination index, able to differentiate between the high performer and a low performer. And then third comes the distractor efficiency. So you know what is a distractor? So out of 4 options, 1 is key, rest 3 are distractor. So this distractor efficiency, this looks at the wrong option and this analyzes like were those wrong options were able to attract weak students or not. So a good distractor, if it is chosen by weak students, but not by the strong one, that is the distractor efficiency. So Dr. Jalinder is asking how to decide about the upper group and the lower group. So Dr. Jalinder, if you can recall, like just before like 10 minutes or so, I talked about you divide. Like Kelly was the scientist who says that you should divide these three, and it is there in the option of Jamovi. So in Jamovi, if you choose the option of these three group, it automatically divides the upper group as upper 27 percentile, lower is the lower 27, and middle is 46%. So that is decided by the software, the number of group and these cutoff. If you wish, you can change this, but again, that changing, you can change the number of groups only. If you wish that you want your group to be 4, then this analysis will be on the top 25% and lower 25%. If you wish that your analysis is into 2 group, then you can divide 50-50. It is up to you. There are many classical books on the medical education where they have written that divide it into the high performing and low performing, only 2. But it is up to you. Jamovi, generally by default, it gives 3, but there are the options where you can change these groups. Is it okay, Dr. Jalinder? Okay, Dr. Monisha, DI cutoff. So if you see the discrimination index, generally it says that these cutoff are like if it is more than 0.35, then it is a excellent item. And if it is in between 0.25 to 0.34, then it is good. But less than 0.2, generally. We will again talk about this, Dr. Monisha. We will keep on telling you about these cutoff. Don't worry. But for now, if it is less than 0.2, then generally we say that, we should revise these concepts. We should revise the item and the distractor, both the wordings. Is it okay? So cutoff is generally 0.2 for good item, and for excellent it is 0.3. So we talked about the difficulty index. We talked about the this distractor, this discrimination index. Next comes your distractor efficiency. So what is this distractor efficiency? So I was talking like a distractor should attract the weak student, not the strong, that means the good students. So this distractor efficiency is calculated or analysis is conducted. So basically it sees that each incorrect option, it should attract at least some of the students. That means if any distractor is not able to attract any of the student, that means that is a non-functional distractor. And we have defined this non-functional distractor that when it is chosen by less than 5% of the student, then it is known as the non-functional distractor. And then you see like the third one, which is the number of functional distractor. So how do we calculate how the Jamovi calculates it? So it basically calculates the number of functional distractor for each item divided by the total number of distractor. So for each item, this total number of distractor will be 3 because there is one key and three distractor. And then it multiplies it by 100 and it calculates it. So this we have to do it. We will see. It's one step ahead. That means Jamovi automatically doesn't give you the distractor efficiency, the overall. So that we have to calculate it and we'll show you how do we do that. So this is regarding the distractor efficiency. So what is a non-functional distractor? A distractor which is chosen by less than 5% of the student is known as the non-functional distractor. So to say it in other words, a distractor which is chosen by more than 5% of the student is the functional distractor. So what are these three measures of item analysis? First is the difficulty index, facility value, p-value. All three are same. We calculated number of students who have answered correctly. In denominator, we take the total number of students. And if the value, if it is less than 0.3, that means it says that the test was difficult. If the value is more than 0.7, we say that the test was very easy or the item was very easy. And moderate is between 0.3 to 0.7. Second is your discrimination index. Discrimination index is the ability of an item to differentiate a poor performing and a good performing student. And distractor, basically, this analysis helps us to analyze the three distractor, whether it is able to attract the low performing students or not. So up till this point, are you all clear on these concepts? Difficulty index, distractor efficiency, and the discrimination index. Can you show me the chat? Okay, thank you. Then we'll go ahead. So now this we are doing the item analysis. So not for this, probably I don't know whether we will be able to conduct this test analysis or not today, but there is something known as the test analysis. So till this time we have talked about the item analysis. So basically item analysis investigates the performance of item individually, either in relation to some external criteria or in relation to the remaining items, which is like this statement was told by the Levitov, which has done a lot of work in the item analysis. And test analysis is like it examines how the test item performs as a set. Means in whole the set, the whole of the test, like in your case, if I have to perform this test analysis, then I have to use like reliability coefficient, which is KR20 or the Cronbach alpha. So if I say that any item, and you will see this in today's example also, there are items where everyone has answered it correctly. So 100% of the people were able to answer it correctly. That means there is no variability. So such item contributes 0 to the reliability. That means it is not adding, since there is no variability, it is not adding to the reliability. Similarly, an item which is like everyone has marked it incorrectly. Again, there is no variability. So it also contributes nothing to the reliability. So basically, item which performs like in the middle. So reliability increases when there is a variation. Some gets it right and some gets it wrong. So for discrimination or a good reliability, any item which is being marked by wrong by few of the students and by right of the few by few of the students, it only adds to the reliability. Now, what should be the value of, if I say this regarding the difficulty index? Now, again, coming back to the difficulty index, if you see the idea of guessing. So, if you talk about the probability, if there are 4 options, what is the probability that even if the students are marking it by chance, like just by luck, if there are 4 options, there are 25% probability that the student will be marking correct. Similarly, there are 5 options, then there are 20%, there's a 20% probability that the student, even if they mark by guess, 20% will be right. Similarly, if there are three options, there are 33% chances that these many students will be able to get the item right just by luck. So this Levitop and Thompson, they have given a rule how much optimal difficulty we should set for an item. So if you see, if an item has got 4 levels, then what will be the, if you see the probability of this halfway rule, so the optimal difficulty should be halfway between the guessing level and 100%. That means G plus 1 by 2. So what is G? G is the guessing level. So for 25%, if you see, if there are 4 options, the guessing probability is 25%. So your optimal difficulty will be your G plus 1, which is the this thing, divided by 2, which is 0.625. So the best reliability when there are 62.5% of the student gets it right. Similarly, if there are 5 options, then there are 60. It is ideal when the optimal difficulty is 0.60. That means ideal when about 60% have answered it correctly. And if there are 3 options, then it is 66.5. That means it is ideal when about 67% have answered it correctly. So this should be the optimal difficulty level for a good reliability. That means it should be between the 60 to 65%. So again, just one question to all of you, like in a multiple choice question consisting of 100 items, each having 4 alternative, what is the minimum possible expected score? Yes, all of you please answer. Yes, it is not 0. You are right. It is 25% because by chance also the probability of correcting the right option by chance will be by the 25% of the people. Now coming to the type of test. So there are 2 type of tests. That means there is a norm reference test and there is a criterion reference test. So what is the meaning of norm reference and what is the meaning of criterion reference? So norm reference test is like when we have to compare one student to rest of the student, then it is known as the norm reference test. Like NEET. NEET is a norm reference or any percentile test, JEE, or if you take the even the USMLE, GRE, all these are norm referenced because one student is compared to the rest of the student. Then another is the criterion reference test, like we do in our formative and summative assessment. So we just see how well a student meets with a set of standard skill. It has got a fixed learning criteria. One student doesn't have to do anything with the other student. That means if the passing percentage is 50%, any student who will get 50% will be passed. So like school, just for example, driving test or school unit test, it is written, but in all our example, whatever exam we take in the medical education, that is a criterion reference test. That is not a norm reference test. Norm reference test, yes, when we have to do some SR interview and we have to recruit some people and then you conduct a written examination, then it is a norm reference because you will take only the top 5 or top 10. So why I am telling you this? Because difficulty index, generally we say that the difficulty index should be between 0.3 to 0.7. So that whatever we are talking today, that is related to the norm reference test. Norm reference means like when one student will be compared to rest of the student, then the difficulty should be between 0.3 to 0.7. But if in case of a criterion reference test, like for example, just for example, if you just see this first option, the first item is, so if you see this first question, identify the organ producing insulin. So this is a very simple question and it is answered by the 90. If you see the difficulty index, it is 0.95. So you will say it is a very easy question. Everyone has answered it correctly, and it cannot differentiate between the high and low performer. So should we say that it should be revised or replaced? So no. If it is required, this knowledge is required by everyone, then even if the difficulty level is 0.95, that means it is very easy, then you can say that the learning objective has been achieved. Every student should know this. So generally, for us, if we are doing it for an internal assessment or for summative assessment also, even if the question is very easy, but you can keep few of these questions also. The criteria is not that stringent that it should not be more than 0.7, it should be within that. Similarly, if I ask this question like interpret this ECG, and if the difficulty index, if you see in this case it is 0.45. Animation is not working properly. So if I go about this, interpret this ECG, then again, this good, if you say 0.45, we can say that it is a good question because it has got a moderate difficulty and it is able to achieve like, you can say that if, discrimination index also. Again, if it is a very difficult, then it may reflect a poor teaching, like I said in the beginning. If the question is very difficult, and very difficult how? Means on the people whom they have test takers, it is showing that only 25% of the people are able to, make it correct. So that means again, you should think that what is the teaching learning gap and how we can improve the teaching learning gap, or how should we reframe the question. So from all this discussion, from the criterion and norm reference, I wanted to make it a point that it depends on the type of test. Many times you have got a mix of questions when there are few questions which are very easy, where the difficulty index is more than 0.7. But you can keep those questions if you think that those questions are necessary to achieve your competency or to achieve your learning goals. Now coming to the third thing, which is the item discrimination. So a good item discriminates between those who do well on the test and those who do poorly. So basically there are two index. There is a upper lower index and there is a discrimination coefficient. So what is discrimination coefficient? Item total correlation and item rest correlation. This is there in the JAMOVI output, which tells us about the discrimination coefficient. So what is this upper lower index? So upper lower index, basically here the people who have marked the answer correctly in the upper group and people who have marked the answer correctly in the lower group. You deduct this and divided the total number of students, and we have earlier seen that the value should be at least 0.25, but if it is higher than that, then it is a better discrimination. The other two values are the RIT is the item rest total correlation and RIR is the item rest correlation. So this is the correlation. What do I mean by the item total correlation? So if I talk about item total correlation, so this is you take that item and total score and it calculates the correlation. So it gives, if it is value is it should be at least 0.3. More than 0.3 is the acceptable. Similarly, there is an item rest correlation. It is similar to RIT, but it excludes the item which is in the total score. So that's why it is known as the item rest correlation. So those of you who have attended this reliability and the scale development workshop, we have discussed this item total correlation and item rest also, but never mind, the concept is same. Item total means total score and that particular item. You test the correlation, and item rest means from the total you deduct this particular item, that score, which is the rest, and this item. This again, the value is same, that it should be 0.3, more than equal to 0.3 is the acceptable, but higher one tells that it is matching with rest other. Now coming to the, we talked about the difficulty index. Till now, we talked about this discrimination index. In difficulty index, we talked about the optimal difficulty also. What is optimal difficulty? It depends on the number of choices which you have. So generally it is G plus 1 by 2. G is the random guessing plus 1 divided by 2. That tells you the optimal difficulty. What should be the optimal difficulty of that question? Then we talked about the discrimination index. Generally, there are three discrimination index which we use. There's a upper lower index or the ULI. There is a item rest correlation and there's a item total correlation. These are the three values which are there in the Jamovi and we use otherwise to discriminate an item. The third is the distractor analysis. So there are two terms. There's one which is known as the distractor analysis and there's one which is known as the distractor efficiency. So distractor analysis is done at the item level. Means you will look at each of the distractor of each item and you will say that out of the three distractor, how many are the functional attractor, functional distractor. So it tells us like which distractor are attractive or which distractor are not being detected by or being picked up by any of the student. But this distractor efficiency tells you in the percentage, like how many out of the three distractor, how many are the functional one, and then you divide it by the total number of distractor. So I said that total number of distractor will be the same. It will be 3 for all the item. And we call it as any distractor which is functioning if it is chosen by the more than 5% of the student, or if any distractor is chosen by less than 5% of the student, that is a non-functional distractor. So I think we can have a break of 2 minutes. Yes, I think someone has asked the question. Pardon? 5 minutes. Okay, we can have a break of 5 minutes. एक question किसी ने पूछा था? Because it's, I think, okay. So, Sheetal, yes, you are right. Generally, it is they say that it gives a more precise value. So, if you have to take the value of RIT and the total, so item rest correlation is a better measure. Jamovi gives both. The cutoff value is same, but if both are measuring in one, it did like what you say, like it deducts that particular item score. So that is a better way. More, you can say, more precise if you have to choose between the two. Yes, point means it gives you can have both. As output, it gives. So we can take a 5 minutes break and again we'll be back. And try again. So that's what I did and now it is opening. So when you open the Jamovi, it opens like this and you can see here a version. It is the same version which is which you are supposed to download. That is the solid version of 2.6.44. Once you have downloaded this, it is the basic module which will be downloaded in your system. So all those modules which you can see here, a lot of modules like survival, diagnostic, linear models, MedDecide, Seoul matrix, etc. These are the modules which we download when we have to use that. Install it, right? Not download, we call it as installation of the module in Jamovi. So how do we do this? So there's a plus sign here. So if you click this plus sign, it will show you two options. There is a Jamovi library and then there is a manage install. If you see here, there's a Jamovi library here and there's a manage installed. So these are the installed module in my system. So depending on the requirement, you can download it. But for this session, you have to download which is known as the Snow IRT. So what you will do, go to library, click on this plus sign, go to Jamovi library, click this and then type item. Even if you type in this search bar, you can see a search bar here in this case. So you type item, because we have to do item analysis. So you type item. Once you type item, it will show you this one, Snow IRT. So since this module is installed, that's why it is showing installed. In your case, those of you who are new or otherwise also, because for this item analysis, you have to download this Snow IRT module, then only we can do the item analysis. Okay. So first task for all of you when you go to the breakout room is to download. Those of you who have not downloaded Jamovi, you can do it right now. Don't wait for the breakout room. You just type the Jamovi download, click on the setup, save that setup, and start next. If you just do like that, it will be downloaded. And then go to this plus sign and then type item. This module will come Snow IIT and then download this module. Once you've downloaded this module, then this will come here. In my case, when I press this plus, then it shows here because there is a lot of modules, so that is not shown in the upper ribbon. And this is the Snow IIT module. Okay. So once you have done that, either you can import that sheet. So if you click this sign and click on this open and then browse, then that Excel sheet which we have given, that will be opened. Otherwise, we have shared a Jamovi file and you can click that. So I'll go to that file only and I'll open that file straight away. So I will open this data set. This is the same data set which you people, the 54 of you have filled it, the options. And you can see here the total number. First, let me delete all this. So you can click on all and then click on remove. Right. So this is the data set. In the data set, if you go to the data, click on this setup and then see the, if you like, let me start from beginning. This is the serial number. You can define variable here. So click on next, like calcium, there are options. This is the type of data is the nominal. And since it is not in number, that's why I have kept it as a text. The calcium means these are the question. The first question was, we have just written the few words of the first question so that it is easier for us to interpret. Then the second question is on the night blindness, third question on the PM. So in this, you have to keep this measure as a nominal and this data type as text. Why this data type as text? As the response which we are taking, that is in the form of a ABC. It is not 1, 2, 3 as like we do the analysis for all others module. Here you have to keep it like nominal and text. So this is how you can and this like change the variable or any type if it is not like this. So once you do like this, then you go to this IRT module. I'll go to analysis, click on this module, open this Snow IRT. In Snow IRT, you have to click the distractor analysis, this one. There's an option of distractor analysis. You click this module because in Snow IIT there are many other options, but we don't have to go to those options. To click on this, go to the Snow IIT and click the distractor analysis. Once you click on this distractor analysis, remember that PDF file which I was showing. So you copy paste that option, the correct key from that PDF file to here in the Jamovi. So what I'll do, I'll go here. This was the correct file. Then option key, I will select this. Control C, will go to the Jamovi and will delete this. Just to demonstrate, I will again copy paste this. So this is the correct response which I have pasted. Am I clear up till this point? Yes, please guide me. Okay, Dr. Ajay said okay. Oh, how about the people who have not seen Jamovi before?
Ma'am, do you hear me?
Yeah, Dr. Veenu, yes, I can hear you.
Ma'am, where did you upload the data set from? Like, where should we upload the data set from?
We have given you an Excel sheet.
Okay.
So you can download this Google form. Remember that Google sheet
Yeah. Ma'am.
I have shown you in the beginning.
Uh,
The same you can save it.
uh,
And that we have shared. I mean, I'm just telling the process when you will do it. So
okay.
when you will do it, you can save your Google sheet as Excel sheet
Mhm.
and then go to this plain Jamovie, this one. Click
Okay.
here,
Uh,
click open,
uh,
click browse,
okay.
and
Got
then
it.
show the path.
Okay,
I
ma'am. Got it.
once you have shown the path, let me go to that sheet, data set and question, Excel. Is this the file? Icon change. Yeah, icon has changed. So I will just click on open. So you can see here, it is the same file, same option which has been imported, which was there as a Excel. It got imported here. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Fine.
Anybody else who's not clear on this? I will repeat it once again. Before this step is essential. Before I go to the other analysis. That's why if you have not understood or if you want me to repeat again, please convey right at this time. Okay. So I will just close this because I have already, there are two Jamovie file. So I will close this file because then again the Jamovie will create problem. I will close this. So now what I have to do now, I'll start moving my variable here. Variable are the individual questions. So I will select one question, press shift, and then I'll go to the 30. There are 30 questions. I'll go to this 30 number and select all these questions. And then you can see all these questions in this variable, which is the variable section. Now I will go to the analysis. And first thing to see is the item summary. So before I go, there is an option of save. This is the save option. So if you click this total score, click this total score. Then in the data set, you can see that this total score has appeared. So you can see this total score. So based on this total score, Jamovie divides the three like section. The upper 27%, the lower 27%, and the middle 46%. Okay, Dr. Shilpa is asking me to repeat. Shilpa, from where should I start repeating? Can you please guide me? Repeat from the downloading the Jamovie or downloading the module, importing the Excel sheet. Okay. So to import the Excel sheet, since I have closed that Jamovie, when you open that Jamovie, click on this thing. You can see there is a three horizontal line here. Just a sec. This one. Can you see this button, Shilpa? Gitanjali को बोल देना कि वो session. So this was the okay. So you click this, and then you click on this open. When you click on this open, then you browse, and then wherever you have saved your Excel sheet, like I have saved this here. So I will click this and I will click this open. Right now, I'm not doing it because I have already done it. So that's why I'm not doing it. But this way you have to do it. Import the Excel sheet, right? So now you go to this. This is the total score. In the analysis, I have clicked the total and this is the total score. And based on this total score, it divides this score in the three sections, the upper 27%, the lower 27%, and the middle 46%. Okay. Now I'll again go to this and there are many options here, but go one by one. Why? Because if you click everything together, it will be difficult for you to understand. So please go slow and go one by one. So first you see the total score and you can, by this total score, you can just have a look that how much is the overall score. So you can see total 30 questions mean maximum score will be 30. So you can see like 25, 17, 22. So most of them you can see have like a good score, 25, 24, 20, mostly more than 20. Very few were 17. And so you can say like mostly the people they have got good marks out of 30. That is not needed, but just as a look. But again, in analysis, you will go to the item summary. So in the output, first click on the item summary. Item summary tells you like a particular item. When you click that, it will appear like this. So it will give you the individual item summary in terms of its difficulty. Like you can see here, correct response, it is always given by the star. You can see there's a star at the B. That means B is the key here. Similarly, there's a star at the A. So A is the key here. Similarly, here the star is at the B. So B is key here. So wherever is the star, that's the key. That means that's the right option. So how to analyze this? You can see that there are 89% of the people who have given this as a correct answer. Question number one. Then there are, in this case, you can see there are almost 100%. If you see the night blindness question, the 100% have got it correct. So will this question add to the variability? What will be your answer? Yes or no? Right, Priyanka. No, because any question which is either 100% marked 100% right by all or marked 100% wrong by everyone, that doesn't add to the variability. So when you will do this, this question will not add to the variability because everyone, there were a total of 54 people and everyone got it correct. So this is a very easy question. Now coming to the third one. Similarly, you can see how many. So this proportion tells you the difficulty index of the item. It will give you item wise also, but individual item you see this proportion of the people correctly choosing it. Now, if you see the other options like distractor, it also tells you like distractor. If you see that there, who are the distractors? C, D, and A. So in question number one, if I ask about from all of you regarding the distractor, now tell me this is the proportion of distractor 4%, 7%, and 0%. So, how many are the functional distractor in this case? Question number one. Okay, two. Very right. Two. Why two? Because the one, but how come you are saying two? What is the definition of functional distractor? First, tell me that. Yes, it is one. Why one? Because definition of functional distractor is it should be chosen by more than 5%. So if I ask you functional, then it is one. If I ask you non-functional, then it is two. So my question, if you see this 4% it is not a functional distractor. And this 0% is not a functional distractor. So only this 7%, the proportion, this 7% is a functional distractor. I am writing is a FD. Okay. Similarly, in this case, tell me who are the functional distractor in case of item number two? Number of functional distractor. Yes, none. Rightly said. Coming to the third one. Now you tell me what is the difficulty index or what is the facility value of third item? All of you please type in the chat box. What is the facility value? Yes, easy, very right. But I am asking it in terms of percentage. If I ask the percentage, yes, it is 87%. No, Dr. Suresh, it is 87%. I'm asking about question number 3, which is about the PM. Okay. Now, this was the difficulty index. If I ask you regarding the distractor, then tell me number of functional distractor in question number 3. Priyanka is saying 2, Dr. Sunil is saying 2, right. Who are the functional distractor? Please write C and A. Okay. Now you have understood. All of you please type in the chat box because that will help you to learn. Don't mind if you have, like, if you are typing wrong. There is no harm in typing wrong. At least you took the courage and initiative to write. Once you have written wrong, on the next moment you will become right. So please don't get this fear not to write. Now coming to question number 4. Again the same question. In the question number 4, what is the difficulty index? Yes, right? And what is the total number of functional distractor? Very right, 0. How about question number 5? What is the difficulty index in question number 5? Now we are in question number 5. 56%, yes. And number of functional distractor? 1. Very right. Now let's say I'll go to this question number 9, just for a change. Now, what is the difficulty level of question number 9? Very right. And number of functional distractor? Very right, 3. So, if you have to calculate the percentage distractor efficiency, what you will do? Total number of functional distractor divided by total number of distractor. Because distractor are 3, so if the total number of functional distractor are 3, the distractor efficiency will be how much? 100%. Because all the 3 distractors are functioning well. So denominator in case of efficiency, you just divide the number of functional distractor by 3. Why? Because total number of distractor is 3 for every item. Because it is 4 option, one is key, and the rest 3 are the distractor. Am I making sense to all of you up till this point? Okay. So if you have understood this item, so from this item, individual item, you get 2 values, you get difficulty level and you get distractor, number of functional distractor. The proportion you don't get, that you have to, like, you just divide it by 3 and get the total number of percentage. That we'll see. Now I'll go for another one, which is the counts of respondent. Now if you see the counts of respondent and proportion of respondent, it just gives you the overall by dividing the upper, middle and lower, how the item is performing. So if you see this, you don't have to give this as an output in the when if you are doing it for a paper publication, or if you are keeping this as a item question bank also, then these counts and proportion of respondent, that is not necessary. That is the background using which it calculates the distractor index, or it calculates the discrimination index. So if you see the counts of respondent, what is this? What this table says, that in the upper, see, this is regarding the lower 27%, the upper 27% and the middle. And here, why it is? Because here the number of groups I have taken 3. By default, Jamovi gives 3. If you wish to make it 4 or 2, it is up to you. Okay. But it is said that to have a better discrimination index, you should have 3 groups. And by default, Jamovi takes the upper 27%, lower 27%, and middle 46%. So if you see this, this is the lower, middle, and upper, and it tells you like how many of them have selected the upper. So 16 students have selected correct option in the upper, but 16 in the lower also. And if you see the individual distractor we have seen, but it will show you the functionality of distractor in the upper and lower. So this is same for the night blindness also, all the questions. You can see night blindness here. We know that 100% of the people got it, all of given them the correct option. Again, this also the correct option. It like breaks the total number of students in the upper, middle, and lower. This is just for you to understand how the Jamovi works as a background. Otherwise, you don't need this in the output. And the same proportion, if you see, it tells you as a proportion also. If you come after 30, this one, proportion of respondent. So this, it tells you this thing. Like you can see here, the same number, it tells you in the proportion. This one, proportion of respondents. This option. So we have seen 3 options: count of respondent, proportion. Now there's another one. This is the difficulty and discrimination index. So, okay, so Dr. Dilip, how to identify functional distractor? That we have discussed, that if any distractor that is picked up by more than 5% of the total test taker, we call it as a functional distractor, and you can have it from the item summary. If you see the item summary, it gives you the percentage of all the options. So you can see here like sleep deprivation. If C is the key, so BDA is the distractor. So you can see 2%, 2%, and 0% have picked it up. So all the 3 distractors are non-functional. That means there is a 0 functional distractor. So this is how we detect the distractor. Now, if you click this difficulty and discrimination index, it will give you output of all the 30 questions together at one point, in one table. This table is important, and you can give this table as a output, means as a table in the manuscript, you can use this. So it will take some time. So this you can see. It gives you in one table the difficulty index, this thing, then ULI. ULI is the upper lower index, means it takes the number of students who have corrected the answer in the upper section minus number of students who have corrected the answer in the lower section divided by the total section. And this is the item total correlation, and this is the item rest correlation. Okay. So on the basis of this, you can write like which item is good or acceptable and which item is not good. So like if I see night blindness, so this is not a good item. Why? This is coming NaN. NaN, since it was 100%, so that means there is no variability. That's why it is writing NaN. So wherever it is 100%, it doesn't add to variability. So Jamovi writes it NaN. Now, if you have to comment on the first question. First question difficulty is 0.89. So we can say it is an easy question because generally we keep it as 0.3 to 0.7. I am talking about norm referenced, like we discussed about the norm and criterion referenced. You can see like if you wish to have a criterion reference test and if you wish some question to have a very easy level, that is up to you. Again, if you see the ULI and ULI is 0.23, it is up till 0.2, it is 0.23 and it is, but this is very less, 0.12. Now coming to this question, this is again an easy question. So if you see difficulty, these 2 questions are very easy. But this question number 5, this is moderate difficulty. This is okay, 0.56. Again, if you see question number 9, this is moderate difficulty, 0.46. If you see question number 12, lung capacity, it is again okay, 0.39. So these three questions, if you see, the difficulty index is within limits. And difficulty index, how do we choose? It should be between 0.3 to 0.7. And these three questions are between 0.3 to 0.7. If you see the ULI, we have kept it like 0.3. You can see it is okay. It is again okay, 0.43. But these are not okay. Now, if you see there are this hypertension, this ULI is negative. What is the negative of the meaning of this negative ULI? Yes, negative ULI means how we calculate the ULI? Number of students who have picked up this item in the upper minus lower. So if the lower group has picked up more number of correct answer, this discrimination will be negative. So this shows that that item, either there is some problem in the wording of the item, or there can be possibility that you have entered a wrong key. So that also you need to check. There can be many options how you will correct or revise that item. So a negative ULI means the people in the lower segment have answered it correctly, right? Similarly, if I go down, you can see other items also. So if I see, generally it is very easy. All the items are very easy. That's why you see the difficulty index is more than 70% in most of the cases. Except here in question number 26, you can see it is 0.54. And discrimination is very poor, you can see. Discrimination in this case is okay, e-cigarette. That is okay. Again, this is very poor. This is less. This is okay. So this is how you can decide based on the cutoff. So have you understood up till this point? If I again show you that, let me open that. Uh, so in the first breakout room, practice up till this point, and then we will go to the next next demo where I will show you more of analysis. So first, I think I'll again show that the levels, discrimination index, and what is the acceptable level. I think 0.3, if you see, so this is, we generally take it as 0.3 to 0.7. This we take as like, it should be more than 0.2. You can say like more than 0.25. And for distractor, we have not, this distractor, I am not doing it right now because distractor, we have to enter the data separately. So that's why I am just holding myself up till this point. You do this in the breakout room. And then when we'll come back, I'll show you separately how to do few more analysis, which Jamovi doesn't give the output automatically. You have to copy paste the data set in the another sheet and then do it. That I'll show you. Okay. So we have opened 3 rooms. In one, Dr. Rajat, one room, Dr. Rajat kindly see the, facilitate the participant. And in another, Dr. Deepika, and then Aditya. There are 3 mentors in 3 rooms. These are the dummy tables, which is we have modified, adapted these dummy tables from various sources. Participant ka minimize karna. So this, you can see the first table, it is the item-wise analysis summary. And this is your difficulty index. discrimination index, RRT and RIR. So you can copy paste exactly the same thing, this one. So this table you can copy paste, and here we have in the result, obviously you will not write all the questions, like you will just write item number 1, 2, 3, 4, and then copy paste this value, this whole table. You just copy paste these values to here in this table. So this is the first table, and then you can write your interpretation. Now in this table you can see there is a table which is the distractor efficiency. So how you will calculate it? So to calculate it, again you have to do it manually. Manually means you have to go item wise, because this table Jamovi doesn't give you. So how you will do it? You will go to this item summary, which we have discussed, and calculate it on a piece of paper and then enter it here. For example, the way we have just done it for question number 1, you will write the functional distractor is we written that there is a 0, because no, there are one distractor which is functional, which is 7%. So you will write at one, maybe you can write on piece of paper like question number 1 or item number 1, number of functional distractor 1, and that we have entered it here. If you come down, there is a separate. Okay, this is one table, distractor analysis. So this table you have to like make it. Make it, what do I mean? Make it means you have to see the individual item and you have to keep populating it. Either you can do it in Excel or you can do it here. So what we have done here, like see for the question number 1. So we have not written A, B, C. We have written distractor 1, distractor 2, and distractor 3, and the percentage. So you can see it is 4, 7, and 0%. So this output, this is 4, 7, and 0. This we have entered there. Again, this is like 0, 0, and 1. So we have entered 0, 0, and sorry, it was all 0 because 1 was the correct option. So this, since this A was the correct option, so it is 0, 0, 0. So second was, there was no distractor who was efficient. If you see this, so distractor is CDA. So 607. This 607. This you have to enter like this. 607. So similar, all distractor 1, 2, you write the percentage here. And from this table, you write here the functional distractor. So like any one more than 5, you will write 1. So this is 1, this is 0. And then we have entered functional distractor like 1, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0, 1, 3, like that. And if you have to calculate the distractor efficiency, how you will do it? It is like 1 by 3. So this is 1 by 3. So you can do it in Excel also. Like you can copy. Yes, and that is right. Like Dr. Shamshad is saying, there will be two values. Either it will be 33 or it will be 67, or it will be 0 or 100. So there will be only two values. So if it is 1, it will be 33. If it is 2, it is 67. And rest, if all the three are like all three are functional, it will be 100. And if it is 0, then it is 0. So only through 2% you have to enter, like 33 and 67. Depending on if it is 1, then 33, and if it is 2, that means 67. Am I making sense to all of you? How this table, we have populated this table. Table number 3. Please write yes, no, or you need more explanation. Yeah, NaN means no variability. True, no variability means it is, you can write it is not applicable. We don't say what is the full form of NaN, means it is this analysis doesn't take this cell. for calculating the variability that we discussed in the beginning. So this is how you populate this table.
Ma'am, if we are not giving its actual name like the number B, C, D or ABC, then if we only put D1, D2, D3, when we go back to that form, which one actually the functional, which one, the one functional distractor is D2, then we have to, how we trace back to the question? Which one is the D2 then?
So see, there are two things. One thing is you for manuscript or for your own question bank and for that purpose. For your own question bank and for manuscript, it is not needed that you will write B, C, and D. Because for any publication, it doesn't matter whether you are writing, you just write D1, D2, D3. Otherwise, if you wish, you can copy because we have seen a few publication where they have kept the same options also. So
अगर correct option B है D1A D2C और D3 D हो गया automatically understood ही
Okay.
correct option क्या है?
So like in this case, see it is in the form of like B, C, D, A. That's how it is taking it. So if the correct option is A,
हाँ तो D1 D हो जाएगा D2C या D3 है जो भी discuss कर
मान लो फिर भी उतना नहीं करना है अगर like see it gives you like this B, C, D, A where there is a one option. So every time what will happen that if you write here distractor will keep on changing. Why? Because distractor in this case many times because key is changing. So if you write A, B, C, D, then you will have to have all the four options where you will write the correct key also.
correct key also.
Are you getting my point? In that case, if you specifically wants to write like A, B, C, D, then insert a row here, column. And then you write the correct key also. Then you can write A, B, C, D. And then you write like which is the key. Then every time the key will change. See, because many times there will be D, which is the key. Sometimes C will be the key. Sometimes A will be the key. So in the cell, you have to put inside each cell, means in each cell, you have to put a star, like which A, B, C, D is the answer, that is the key, and which is the distractor. Are you getting my point? What I mean to say? Mani,
Yes.
who asked this question?
Yes, ma'am, got it.
But again, if you wish, you can do that. You are free. Since, see, in any manuscript or it is author's decision also how they want to put the result. This is one way which we are suggesting. But if you see, we have shared the articles also. If you wish, you want to put it like that, you can do like that. There is no watertight. It is not something like we are saying, no, you have to do it like this only. This we found little easy. Because here I don't have to put my brain like A, B, C, entering star mark in each of the cell, right? So that's why I did it like that. But if you wish to do it the way you are saying, you can do that. You are free to do that. And again, one thing you can see here, the same. So this you have, so you can copy this whole, this distractor efficiency percentage and you can paste it here also in the first table. But since you have given, you can remove also from here because it is like duplication of information. You are giving distractor efficiency here and then the detailed distractor efficiency you are giving here in this table. Right. Now coming to the second table, you can see here, this is a table where we are giving the summary of items based on the difficulty and discrimination. So this table you have to recreate. Like difficulty index, I am categorizing into the easy, moderate, and difficult. Similarly, the discrimination index based on ULI, I am categorizing it as poor, acceptable, and good. Okay, these two tables. So how to do that? For this, what you will do, you go to this output, this one. This one. This one. Control this table, do like copy this and you can open a Jamovi new sheet, because it is the new data. So from here only, click this and open a new sheet. And then copy paste that. And then I'll delete this. To delete, you can go to this and delete this. And again, since this also I will delete because I have to rename the variable. So I'll go to this. I will click this as a item. I'll go to the next variable. Next variable is the difficulty index, DI. I will change it to continuous. And this is in decimal. Then next in this thing is your discrimination index. If you see the original this thing table, data set, this is ULI, this is ULI, this is RIT, and this is RIR. So I will write ULI here. ULI or discrimination. Again, you change that to continuous. And then next one is your item rest correlation. So it is, what was the nomenclature which it was using? RIT and RIR. So I'll write here RIT. Otherwise, these are not needed because we are not going to make this RIT and RIR. But since how do you change the variable? RIR. You can make a categorical listing of this also and change the variable to continuous. So this is important for those of you who are new to Jamovi. Those of you who are already working, you know how we change the variable. So we change the variable from this section. Now you have to categorize this variable. So if you see this table is basically two things we are giving: difficulty index and discrimination index. So what I will do, I will change these two variables. We have shared the data set also, and there what we have done, we have entered the chapter wise. Like I said, now first 7 questions was from nutrition, then next question was from physical activity domain, then next 5 questions was from sleep. So this we have typed, like which questions belong to which chapter. And then what you will do, you will transform this. So I have done that, but I will show you in this sheet. So now I have to transform this DI. DI is the difficulty index and this ULI is the discrimination index. So to transform, because based on cutoff, I need to transform this. So I will use the option of transform. Go to transform and then write here as DI cat. I am giving a name to this, and then original variable is DI, and then I will use a rule which is called as a new transform rule. You can see the earlier Jamovi videos also, which is on the descriptive statistics, which will tell you these basic functions. Otherwise also, even if you don't have time to see, you can see it here that we use the option of transform. Here I am using the transform to this DI cat. So I am just renaming it as a DI cat. And then I will add a recode condition. In recode condition, my source variable. So what is a recode? If you see this table, there are this thing, less than 0.3, 0.3 to 0.7, and more than 0.7. So how I will do it? I will write less than. So less than option is here. So less than, no, less than 0.3. So 0.3. If it is less than 0.3, then we call it as a difficult. So whatever you write, you put that under single inverted bracket. So I write difficult. And I have given it as a single this thing. Now the next level is 0.3 to 0.7. So I will add recode condition again, once again. and the lower level Jamovi takes on its own. So 0.3 it will take. Now next I have to write like less than equal to 0.7. So I will here select the option of less than equal to, and I will write 0.7, and I will write here as a moderate, and I will again put an inverted comma. And else use means like more than 0.7, it is easy. So I will again put that. I will again put that as a single inverted, and I will write it as a easy. And then I'll press enter. So you can see that it has categorized these options like easy, moderate, like this. So I have transformed from this score, I have created another categorical variable. Am I making sense to all of you? Did you get it? Can I see the chat? Okay. So if it is clear, then again I have to create another variable from this ULI. And then what is the cutoff? If you see the table, cutoff is like less than 0.2 is poor, 0.2 to 0.4 is acceptable, and more than this will be like more than equal to, it is 0.4 here, 0.39, you make it 0.4. And then more than 0.4 is good. So similarly, I will create a less than 0.2. So I will go to Jamovi. Again, I will click this ULI, go to transform. I will write here ULI cat, source variable, new transform. I will write it as a ULI underscore cat, add recode condition. So my recode condition is source is if it is less than 0.2. So I will write less than 0.2. So it was poor. Let me see the wording. You can see the wording. It is poor. Poor, acceptable, and good. So write poor and in the single inverted. Again, the next is 0.2 to 0.4. I will add recode condition. And here, since 0.2, it already takes the lower value. I will add less than equal to 0.4. So less than equal to 0.4. And I will use the moderate or acceptable. Acceptable. Else, third you don't need to give, only the name. So I will write as good. And single comma, inverted one. And then press enter. So you can see I've created another variable. And then what you will do? You go to descriptive and make this variable as ordinal, because descriptive, when you calculate the frequency, go to analyze, go to explore, click on descriptive. In descriptive, move these DI cat and this ULI cat and click this frequency table. So it will give you these two, like 22% questions were moderate and 78% easy. Similarly, if you see the discrimination, 13 poor discrimination, 9 acceptable, and 5 good. So I have pasted these tables, and you can see here, these two tables, FC cat and ULI cat. I have entered the number from this to this table, like 622, this one, 2178, and difficult, there was no item which was difficult. So I have written like 00. Similarly, this poor, you can see discrimination. If it is less than 0.2, this I have written like the same. I have copy pasted the values. 13 and 48%, 9 and 33, and 5 and 19. So this I have recreated the table by transforming the original value of facility value or difficulty index, and the second one was your discrimination index or ULI. Is it clear to all of you up till this point? Okay, yes. If it is yes, now there is another table. You can see this table. This one. There's a distractor summary where you write the total number of items analyzed, average number of functional distractor, items with all functional distractors, item with more than one non-functional distractor, mean distractor efficiency and range. This is the summary. So this we get from the distractor, descriptive statistics. So what you do, go to this data, not this one, okay. And here you have to copy paste that value, this thing, distractor efficiency. We have calculated the distractor efficiency, functional distractor. So I have copy pasted from this word, the distractor efficiency. And from here, you can go to the distractor, this thing, descriptive. Because we have to calculate mean distractor. So go to descriptive, exploration, descriptive. And here, you can enter this distractor variable here. And you can calculate its mean. You can remove mean and median, minimum, maximum. We don't need standard deviation. So you can see here, the mean percentage was this. If it is like, if it is asking for functional distractor in terms of number, mean, then you remove this variable, functional distractor. And then you can see. So the mean distractor is 1.13 and maximum distractor 0 was minimum functional and maximum functional was 3. So this mean I have written 1.13 here. 1.13. Total item was 30. Now I have item with all functional distractor. So you can see the how many functional distractor means there were 4 items with all functional distractor that you can see here. If you see 100%, which are the 100% that you can see from the this data. If you go to data and see the 100%, you can see which are the data which is 100%. So 100%, there are 4 distractor with 100%. This you can write like 4 distractor this and this. So this 4 distractor is like 13% of distractor with the 100% efficiency, and then rest 87% are with more than equal to 1 non-functional distractor. So opposite of this will be this. And mean distractor efficiency means it is in the form of percentage. So this percentage which I calculated earlier, this one, you can move this percentage also. And the mean distractor efficiency will be 38%, 37.7% or the 38%. So this you can write it here, 38%. So this is your distractor summary. So there are 2 tables of distractor. There's a distractor summary and there's a distractor analysis, where we have given the distractor analysis each item wise. And then comes the last table. So last table is the reliability and test statistics. And if like you wish to give it domain wise, here it is easy. But in your case, like informative assessment, if you need to ask from a specific domain, then you can keep that domain and you can calculate the mean difficulty index, mean discrimination index, and mean distractor efficiency domain wise. So for that, since I told you that we have added this name of like these questions were from nutrition. If you see the data, we have written this like which are the questions from which chapter. So you can create a cross table. How you will create the cross table? Go to exploration, click on descriptive, and you split this all FC. So you split this variable, then you mean ULI and the distractor efficiency, and split it by the chapter. And you can uncheck this because you can uncheck the median also. So these are the like mean chapter wise. Why the standard deviation is coming? I will uncheck all this because I only need, if I only need the mean, then I will uncheck this. So this is the table. And you can copy, you can just enter these values, and I have done the same. I have copy pasted this output. Here you can see, here you can enter the RIT and RIR also, but in this table which we have adapted from this BMC Medical Education 2021, here they have given three like mean difficulty index, mean discrimination index, and mean distractor. And you can copy paste these values here. So basically you can recreate these four tables from these output, whatever we have shown you in the Jamovi. Is it okay up till this point? Please write yes or no, or do you want me to repeat any concept? No, देख लो तू chat. Let me see the chat. Okay, so if you have understood, then we can go to the breakout room. We have shared this data sheet also, or you can copy paste also. So please practice this once, recreating the variables and then categorizing it and taking out the frequency and mean. And we are sharing it in the drive also. कुछ कर दियो. Vital?
1/3 करके प्रोग्रामर्स निकाल दिए डायरेक्टली जो हम किए थे.
That in Jamovi, by seeing each item, you have to do it. Jamovi doesn't give you automatic output where you can see this distractor efficiency and distractor like if number of functional distractor. That you have to do it after seeing each item individually and entering it either in Excel or in Word or in Jamovi itself. You can enter it directly also. Okay. Am I making myself clear to you, Dr. Seetal?
Ma'am,
Like,
here we were computing and at the mid of this session, that breakout session got closed. So
okay. So that's what you want to. So sorry, because I think so. It was just like if you see the data, you know from where this has come. This one.
till the FD column we have the data set, we have the FD column.
Okay,
We have
this.
to
Okay.
compute the D%.
Okay. So what you can do, you can create. This is there. You click this compute, and then right here is like distractor effectiveness, and here you have to select the. So I will select which variable FD, 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 and then divided by 3 and enter. Because total number of distractor were 3 for each option. So the functional distractor at item wise will be like FD by 3 means 1 by 3, 0 by 3, 2 by 3. And then you can multiply it by 100. Why? Because otherwise this is 33.3. So I will multiply it by 100. So this is your distractor efficacy. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, you are welcome. So now coming to, there are other options also, like if you see here, the other one, this is the descriptive. This distractor analysis is also there, this option, but this is a little complicated at this stage. So that's why we have not told you this one. This gives you distractor wise a lot of output, which is not needed for you people. That's why we have not told you separately. And there are a few plots also, you can see. So this plot also, I will just tell you briefly. If you see this histogram, if you click, it will give you the histogram of overall score. So this overall score is like, it will take some time. So till the time it is appearing, I will show you I have clicked distractor and histogram of, no, not this distractor plot, discrimination, overall and histogram, these two, because these are overall. So this you can see. In the meantime, we'll see few articles till the time it is appearing. So if you see this Quen grain, we have shared this article. It is like writing the table 1 as summary of the test parameter, where it is giving you the mean and standard deviation of each of these difficulty index, discrimination index, and distractor efficiency. You can also do that. Similarly, the descriptive, you can write mean as well as standard deviation. This is like they have in the difficulty index, they have classified the difficulty like this, less than 10, 10 to 19, 20 to 29. But in medical journal, you will see that most of us we do it like less than 0.3, 3.3 to 0.7, and then more than 0.7. This is the distribution of discrimination index. Again, they have taken like this, but you can use the cutoff which we have because that's based on the upper lower, and that's the recommendation given by. And then they have written like you can also write like this, like functioning distractor per item, like 0, 1, 2, 3, something like that. You can count from there, and then you can write it. Otherwise, it gives you, if you, that the functional distractor, if you go here and FD, if you make that frequency table of FD, I will uncheck this. It gives you the total, like 0, how many distractor with 0, 6, 0, 1, 2, and 3. This is the same table, which you are seeing here.
Item.
This one. You were saying something?
Item, how many items with 0 distractor?
Okay, yeah. So this is the item, sorry. It's like 12 items, 6 items, 8 and 4 items. This is the same table. So if you, this FD, if you just make a frequency table, then it will give you the number of distractor, like item wise. 12 item with 0 distractor, 6 item with 1 distractor, 8 with 2, and 4 with 3 distractor. Coming to another, this is the article by Namdev, you can see. And there also they have given, if you see the table, in table 1, they have given the difficulty and discrimination index, the mean. Then in the next table, they have again classified the difficulty index based on 50 to 60, 30 to 70, more than 70 and less than 30. And then if you go here, they have classified this discrimination based on like more than 0.35, 0.34 to 0.25, 0.25 to 4 to 0, and this thing. Again, same. And again, the same thing, 0 NFD, 1 NFD, 2 NFD, and 3 NFD, frequency percentage. So this is how you can show. And now we'll go to this. I just checked that 2 graph. You can see these 2 graph. This shows you the overall. This is the histogram. So this red color is the low performer. This blue color is the high performer. On the y-axis, it is the number of respondent, and x-axis, it is the total score. So this is like a normal distribution you can see here. But there is a slight skewness towards the right. That means high. Most of them have got the high score. And this is regarding the discrimination plot. So you can see that this difficulty and discrimination. The later item, the difficulty was, you can see A very easy item. All these items were very easy. And discrimination was also very poor towards the end because blue is like it is coming down, down, and down. So these are few of the output graphically. So that's it from our end. I think we have told you earlier that we will share this the PowerPoint presentation, the data set we have shared, all the result template we have shared with all of you. You can attempt, and once we announce, you can attempt the questions over the website, and then you can generate your own certificate.
Ma'am, can you please describe the last graph again, the discrimination plot?
Discrimination is like both difficulty and discrimination ULI. So discrimination, you can see here that the red color, that means it is increasing, increasing, increasing. These are all red. So red means these are very high difficulty index, means very easy item. So all these items were very easy. And then if you see the discrimination, this is the cutoff. Can you see a line here, 0.25? There's a parallel line going. So you can see which are the items above that and which are the items below that. And you can, like it is the way of showing it. It is already there in the table, which you have seen here. Remember, we have shown you this table, this one, this difficulty in ULI. It is just a bar diagram showing this difficulty in ULI in this. Just it, just the bar diagram, nothing more. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for attending this workshop, and we'll update you regarding the future workshops. So stay connected with us. Thank you so much. Thank you.